today's discussion agenda is set by this entire audience here, and we must also thank K. Ravi Kumar ji. K. Ravi Kumar ji was the former chairman and managing director of BHEL, and he is also today on the board of Reliance ADAG as an independent director. But whatever BHEL achieved, the expansion and all, I remember working with him closely, and today he is the chairman of our advisory board of Inertia. And I tell you, we are very thankful that he could take his time off and come here and be with us. So, in fact, these two stalwarts are our fathers of the day. Yogendra Prasad Saab on my left and Ravi Kumar ji on my right. Again, please give them a big hand. So to begin, everything has to begin with an auspicious occasion. So I think we must have the lighting of the lamp, and I would request first Ravi Kumar ji and Yogendra Prasad ji to please come over. Today we will begin the discussions. I once again welcome everybody, and I must also recognize the presence of some very lady stalwarts here. And I think if I can have from Petrotech, we have, may I have your name, ma'am? Yeah, Mrs. Peters from Petrotech, and we have Dolly Bhasin with us, and I see a couple of ladies. So I would actually like to see more women as well in the energy business, so that it actually comes up a little bit of fizz, so that I don't have to every time say that clap, I want more energy here. So let us begin the day. See, we are in a sector which is a highly challenging sector situation for us, and because we need to give time, and we have quite a lot of people who can give views, and the people on the front are basically the intervention front. So it's like a dialogue. We will not like to have a monologue here, and I will try to see how best I can moderate this, because The best people are around here. In the meanwhile, to begin with, let me give you a little background, and then the procedure would be Santosh would say a few words. I want to give you a little bit of a gist, So what I did, I tried to find out the situation of GDP of nations. I thought instead of the energy picture, let me go and find out what is the economic situation first, and then see whether we can link the energy train with it, Of course, there's no definite direct link, but there is an indicative link, I would say. For example, today, as far as the IMF World Economic Outlook 2014 goes, because that is the recent one that has come and the most authentic data available to all of us, the US was at the top, and I give two figures here. One figure is based on current prices, the GDP at current prices. So I'm going to list the top 10 countries from the point of view of GDP from current price level. Okay? At the top is US at 17.5 trillion US dollars. At the number 2 position is China at 10.3 trillion US dollars. Number 3 position is Japan with 4.85 trillion US dollars. Number 5 is Germany at 3.9 trillion US dollars. Number 6 is France at 2.88 trillion US dollars. UK 2.83 trillion US dollars. Brazil 2.22 trillion US dollar. Italy 2.17 trillion US dollars. Russia 2.09 trillion US dollars. And last, the 10th number is India at 1.99, to be precise, exactly 2 trillion US dollars. This is from the current price level, which is a calculation which we will say it's realistic. But hard reality is we have another domain which is called the purchasing power parity based GDP calculation. So here the scenario changes drastically. At the first level is United States, almost even at 17.5 trillion US dollars. That means there is no difference between their PPP index and their real-time GDPs based on current prices. At the number 2 position also, the change is not there in terms of position, but in terms of figures there is a change. It's interesting, please note, China is number 2 at 14.6 trillion US dollars, and you remember the figure I quoted for real-time GDP was 10.3 trillion US dollars. So you see how the GDP swells in PPP terms when we talk about it. At the number 3 position, you'll all be very happy, and I think we must all give a big hand, is India at 5.43 trillion US dollars. India is on the real-term GDP map the number 10th country. But when you look at the PPP index, you suddenly see India is at number 3. And for those who understand PP, most of us will, but I will just say purchasing power parity is a simple idea where you need to know what is the potential in terms of earnings to afford certain issues, like afford electricity, afford water, even buy a vada pav or a, samosa in Mumbai, what will happen to the purchasing power parity? I think it will be very costly for any person from the United States, from his own relative terms, to afford food. And we all know when we have traveled abroad what happens, If I want a breakfast in Canada, I'm a vegetarian, so I will struggle to get a vegetarian breakfast. But even if I manage to, I think I need about 15 Canadian dollar to get a decent breakfast, And we know what is the purchasing power parity terms. In Mumbai, you can get a nice breakfast at 25 bucks. When I'm saying this is real, I'm not talking the McDonald's, I'm not talking those issues, but real issues you can get it, So that is a simple indication of what will happen to the purchasing power ability of people when we look. Now I go further to that. Japan is at number 4 in PPP terms at 4.83 trillion US dollars. Germany at number 5 at 3.34 trillion US dollar. Russia at number 6, 2.63 trillion US dollar. Brazil number 7, 2.5 trillion. UK number 8, 2.49 trillion. France number 9, 2.33 trillion. And Mexico 1.92. So you see what happens here. So the PPP map changes drastically compared to the measure of real-time GDPs as we see it. And this is not my figures, this is IMF figures which are authenticated, available to you literally on the web. The report is there. So this is what the scenario is. Now, I could not map up the energy scenario of all the countries, but I am giving you top 5 countries on the basis of electricity generation. Okay? Now this is in gigawatt hour terms, and figures are available with me for 2012-13, not for 13-14, because this probably is the audit and those situations that does not allow me to access figures from the past, but then clear indicator. The world generated 22,504,332 gigawatt hours. The world generated 22,504,332 gigawatt hours of electricity. And this, if you see the top 5 out of this is China generated 5.4 million gigawatt hours, US 4.3 million gigawatt hours, EU, that is the European Union, we don't have individual figures for each country at this point of time, but I can do in a later date, is 3.3 million gigawatt hours. India 1.11 million gigawatt hours, Japan 1.1 million gigawatt hours, and Russia 1.06. These are the top 6 countries in terms of electricity generation. So this is the figure I want to throw. So I'm not deciphering anything out right now, but I'm just wanting you to have a picture of this. Now comes some data from Central Statistics Organization extrapolated by me, because I have not taken as is various conditions, because the data is 2013, report is 2013, data is a little bit older. So I have to do some extrapolation. So basically the real-time GDP growth rate of India was about 8.7% in the last 5 years. That's what they are saying, 7.5% over the last 10 years. But actual GDP growth rates were lower, 5% and below. And we know the reason for that. Total domestic energy consumption in terms of million tons of oil equivalent. The problem is we are still in the position of the oil equivalent situation rather than finding out other measures. And that is, we will need by 2016-17 669.6 million tons of oil equivalent in terms of energy, and this will increase to 845 million tons of energy by 2021-22, and 70% of these requirement will be able to satisfy from resources within. That is what this CSO data says, and 30% we will keep importing. That means there is a 70-30 graph in terms of having our energy resource imports versus production. That is what it says. And then what is the import level? That is also projected that for 2016-17 it will be 267.8 million tons of oil equivalent, and 2021-22 it will become 375.6 million tons of oil equivalent. So in a layman's term, what this figure says that it is not very alarming, but definitely it is a risky situation that by 21-22 you will be in a position where almost 30% of your stuff is going to be imported in terms of energy resource, means huge bill. And because that will move towards 50%. And exactly that's why you see the topic for the day is Future of Energy, India Vision 2032. I am trying to see whether this group can present to our PMO and our runners of the country and people who have got that great opportunity today, led by Narendra Modi, government of India, can they alter this graph? Can they change? Is there a directional change possible? Is there an alternative path? That's the reason we have all met today. If we can present this, I can assure you that if we can give them and move them, things may be different than what I am talking about today. This is where is what has happened today, what people feel, but we can move it. But then what is the direction? That will come in the discussion report. Now, which is the Energy Statistics 2013 report available on the web. Please take it out. It says we need 980 million tons of coal by 2016-17 in terms of domestic demand, domestic production it says, domestic demand it says, but expected production is going to be only 795 million tons. So there is a gap, clear-cut gap it envisages. And what is it today? It's about 640 million tons, if I am right, sir, roughly. 640 million tons of coal is what we produce. And what is our potential? As far as Sajdev Saab told me last time, and it's not changed drastically, we have a 299 billion tons of coal capability. And recently I wrote a story in my April issue which was predominantly Bhutan, but I interviewed the High Commissioner from Pakistan. I'm just mentioning this, is those guys have 185 billion tons of coal. It's crazy. I said Kashmir chhod dijiye. This is my out of record talk with him. मैंने कहा यार आप कोल की बात करिए हमारे साथ, कोयला बेचिए, कश्मीर छोड़ दीजिए. He was laughing and smiling. निकालना तो हमें पड़ेगा ना. वो बोल रहे हैं आपकी टेक्नोलॉजी चाहिए. They are ready with it. They are saying, but their view is this. They feel they need hand from India. That's what they told me. Let's see. But basically that's lying in your Sindh province, that coal. And they are the 6th largest country in the world, production. We are the 5th. that way. So we are very close, 299 billion, 185 billion, and bordering the states of Rajasthan and Gujarat. So I see geostrategy and geoeconomics in this. I'm not saying whether it can be done or not. I do not believe in a no answer. I believe there are always ways and means of looking at it. Of course, the ifs and buts is only one thing, whether those guys will behave, whether they will have one government with whom we can talk. So these are other agendas which defense experts and strategy experts would talk about. We also have Alok Mehtaji, so he knows better about this thing, and I would like him to say a few words. Now, installed capacity in India, I have a lot of figures like here. After that, our growth rates in coal is just pathetic. We are at 4.5% annual growth rate, which cannot satisfy our own demand. If we want to even satisfy the demand that we are talking about, we need to grow at 9% in the coal sector. Am I right, sir? Minimum? I know, I agree with that. But this is the figure of 2012-13, average out, So what I mean to say, we need to go beyond this, what we are doing. Absolutely. So basically we know why our crisis has come. So it's come from there, literally. Because predominantly that energy generation graph, today also 65% of actual electricity is produced from coal. And hydro has gone down. My stalwarts from hydro, 6 or 7 of them are, and the top man amongst them, Yogendra Prasadji, who has always fought for the hydro sector, is here. And we have killed hydro. In fact, we have destroyed it beyond imagination. From having 25 to 26% hydro share in the minimum, which we wanted to grow 35%, we have dipped to 16.5% today. That is the kind of scenario we are in. So this is not good, because that is again discussion of peak power and why we need all that. Only gas and hydro can save us. That is the situation today. But India is 4th largest consumer of crude oil. Let us understand this. We are a highly energy consuming country. We are a market for the rest of the world. What is the installed capacity? There are a lot of figures. I'm very surprised that after September 2013, the Ministry of Power does not update this data. So the first letter I think I have to send to Piyush ji कि भाई वो तो डेटा ठीक कर दीजिए, 2013-14 तो कर दीजिए उसको, वो तो वहीं दिख रही है, फोटो आ गई साहब की, तो वो डेटा तो चेंज होना चाहिए. So that data is 240 gigawatt today. We have not changed drastically, because last 2 months back also we were here, 240 gigawatt. Maybe some plants come on the grid and suddenly we expand quickly. But today it's 240 gigawatt, my friends. The site says 228 gigawatt. So 12 gigawatt is missing. So they have to improve that. Gujarat is India's only gas reserve, just way off data, but I'm saying Gujarat, it has won 6 times the inertia awards. I'm the chairman of the committee. I did not see any other state who could win from the parameters, but I'm not touching the other factors of why the state has gone up. But one very important area, Gujarat is India's only gas grid ready state, and the rest still have to come up anywhere near that gas grid readiness. So we talk, when I talk of gas grid, it is not only related to energy, power, it is also related predominantly to the transport sector, and then that also forms the overall graph of energy, which we are not discussing today. But we all need to know our dependence on the gas grid is so critical to move the economy, and we need to procure gas for sure. We need to find an arrangement and a strategy to get gas from the world market. Without that we cannot grow. Pramod Bhattji from Chhattisgarh, the real state which actually gives 24/7 electricity today, I can assure you, because in some portions of Gujarat also there is electricity cut. It's not from village economy we cannot say 24/7, but Chhattisgarh definitely it has come to a 24/7 situation. In fact, they have surplus, such surplus they have. Even Gujarat has surplus, but Gujarat's surplus is very different from the nature of surplus that Chhattisgarh has, because being a coal-driven state, So I would say the surplus of Chhattisgarh is waiting to go, waiting to be absorbed, and I don't know. This state is a potential state for every other state to deal with. So I want to see it from going from a very central-driven model to a model where state starts cooperating, and the national grid enables this to happen. So the grid infrastructure must achieve this. Then these are just little nuggets, Then coal reserves I have already told you, but I also have to tell you India's natural gas reserves are 13 billion cubic meters, massive, 1350 billion cubic meters, 1350 billion cubic meters of gas. That is the reserve that India has currently, and these are estimated reserves. And for crude we have a very low 775 million tons. So you can imagine, or metric tons, sorry. You can imagine that the gas reserves are far in excess in the country compared to the oil reserves. So these are all indicators what we should do where we should go, where we should focus. Yeah. Now total, one very good thing that I want to tell you is India's total renewable energy potential assessed is about 90 gigawatt, in which wind is 50 gigawatt, small hydropower is 15 gigawatt, biomass is 17 gigawatt, bagasse based cogeneration, if you know, bagasse is basically sugarcane waste, and this is great potential, is 5 gigawatt, but my view is different from this report because I am not quoting what I believe in. This is from the central government report. I believe it's 20 gigawatt. If there was any bagasse based operator here, he would have said that professor is right. That's the kind of potential with sugar factories in Maharashtra, in UP. We are, and they are not accorded the real renewable status. And half of the times, these factories just don't produce electricity, because once they don't get bagasse, they're not allowed to use coal, and they don't get coal supply. So another area to look at, to fire those plants and keep them on the grid. So probably it's a hybrid model that will emerge out of this, that when they don't have bagasse, they will use coal, yet generate that electricity. They operate as coal stations, coal-fired boilers, and those kind of ideas. So that is the potential there also which exists. Because this potential is not massive when you look at what we want to add. But this is village economy. Huge amount of rural economy gets fired in this. The need of the rural economy is much lower than the urban economy. There is a new word. I remember Abdul Kalam Sahab wrote that Pura, providing urban amenities in rural area. But I warn everybody, in India brandished in 2003-04, me and Prakash Iyer, who co-authored the book, wrote about an idea called RELC, Remote Location of Strategic Infrastructure Industry. And I believe there is an interesting simplified version of it called urbanization, which has come. But therein lies the fact that remote location of strategic infrastructure industry is critical to the success. We can't provide only... See, when we say providing urban amenities in rural area, although I am a great fan of Abul Kalam ji, but I don't agree with him on this principle. Because this, what it does, it ends up providing toilets and bathrooms and does not go beyond that. So we have to go beyond that. We have to build real infrastructure if we want to stop the migration or reverse it. First we have to stall it and then go back. We'll have to provide equivalent amount of capability to the village. I'm not saying that make them into cities. Cities are a mess. Mumbai cannot handle its waste, and Delhi cannot do that as well. I was told by a BMC top man, in the past, one of the commissioners there, Professor Saab, we get one Wankhede stadium worth of waste every day, and we don't know what to do with it. There is no space. So again, there will come, some people will say, okay, Professor, there is great potential for waste to energy. I said, the concept itself is wrong. It is energy from waste. Why we are calling it WT? So I hope Modi government changes that whole formula. It should be no more called waste to energy. Waste, जब पहले डालते हैं हम waste ही करते हैं उसको. उसका कोई potential नहीं है. उसमें we don't see any potential in the waste. Waste is a resource according to me, and it has energy. So we have to look at it that way. So ideology has to change here. Then comes my favorite subject, and of course there are a lot of solvents. Hydropower share, 16 to 17%. That is very low from a level of 35%. And what is renewable energy today? We have about 30 gigawatt, which is about 12.5%. But this does not add solar. We just started with solar. Gujarat leads the way with about 1000 megawatt or 1 gigawatt of solar. Gujarat first state to reach 1 gigawatt, and we have roughly 2 gigawatt. Tarun Kapoorji, when he comes, he will say 2.4, and he will talk about the figures that are coming. But I'm saying roughly we are at 2 gigawatt today. And with the largest project in the country is the Gujarat Solar Park, which is now reached 240 megawatt as per my last information, which we talked to. From 214 it has come to 240 megawatt. Is the largest solar park in the whole of Asia, and it is bigger than the Chinese park at Golmud, and far bigger than the Mazdar's 150 megawatt solar project in Middle East in Abu Dhabi. So basically India has done some leadership. You see, this is the way it has to be recognized. No other way it can be recognized. And remember, the Gujarat Solar Park is a very unique concept. We have 30 operators who are actually in that park. 30 companies who are operating. It's a very interesting model. And in fact, now it's open for the National Solar Mission people to come in. I believe the states of Chhattisgarh have great potential. This is another state which we have rewarded. Maximum decentralized solar has been done by Chhattisgarh, and is a big leader, because that changes the entire village economy. That helps a lot of other people, like the tribals in the Basta belt have been helped. There are jails where they have rooftop solars. In fact, I feel Chhattisgarh is a real leader state, in solar. Because we will suddenly talk about gigawatts, and then all my discussion will move. Professor, you made it big, the gigawatt issue. No, Every small micro megawatt will make gigawatt. In fact, potential in Mumbai, just rooftops, is 3000 gigawatt. 3000 megawatts. That means 3 gigawatt. Same way Delhi is also 3 gigawatt. Rooftops केवल हमारे इतने powerful हैं. So it can wipe out the shortfall that we have in these urban centers of India. 2 top urban centers can wipe out their shortfall if we have a rooftop policy starting here. But unfortunately, we do not have even a national rooftop policy. It is still struggling to find. It is got entangled in integrity. So these are the issues that are there. And solar shows the way, because the potential for solar is just unlimited, because if we look at the MNRE figures that Kapoorji and his team has worked out, we have potential of 5 lakh megawatt, massive. And I will fail in my duty if I don't mention that Arunachal Pradesh, one single state, a small state of India, has 1,50,000 megawatt of hydropower lying there. Can you believe? And what have we done? We just not producing anything from the state. And from Bhutan, we will now export 10 gigawatt and we may go to 25. But if we can do the deal with Bhutan, what is happening to us in Arunachal is really a question. It is our own state. If we can import power from Bhutan, we can surely have Arunachal as one of the strategic intent areas. And I tell you, Chinese are not looking at Indian territory. They are looking at this 150,000 megawatt. They want to grab this by hook or crook from India. So our fight is not territorial. Our fight is energy resources, basically. If we understand this, then we will take care of Arunachal Pradesh. And no other way, no other political angle will take care of Arunachal Pradesh unless we see it as an energy powerful state of India. Right in the eastern side, and then on the other side we have the coal reserves on the east. We have also gas reserves on the east, and the western grid also has gas but very little coal. So we need to see how we don't, and I think we need to rethink. What we are doing is we are creating large power plants in places like Vindhyachal and Korba, that belt of the coal belt, and we export electricity using long distance transmission lines. Now we need to think whether that investment really is good, or we need to look at a little bit of decentralization. So maybe in another discussion with Power Grid or in their campus, I will raise these issues, whether we need to look at this development in a different way. I'm not saying we need not expand our grid infrastructure, we need to. But then if we have a 25-30 year path, whether that is the only path we take or we take a reverse path. Otherwise we will be a centralized grid, and one little terrorist attack can destroy the whole country, So we need to look at also these kind of security issues, incapability of transport of power or long distances, its limitation. We say, okay, we will make HVDC, we will reduce the losses, but that is all, we are only going in circles. According to me, the best thing is to go back and decentralize, I would say, substantially that infrastructure, so that you get power in situ. I feel Mumbai and Delhi must be liberated from depending on long distance transport of coal. So where is the idea? Where is the discussion? So anyway, I just put up a few thoughts that I had in the forefront. And before I begin, I want Santoshji to come and say a few words. Santoshji, sir, from the location you are, because we'll try to run from the location instead of moving.
Thank you. I remember it was 1994. I had started a spate of publications, starting with 3: Express Computer, Express Pharma, and Express Portpolio and Caterer. These were the 3 publications I started, and later on went to around 30 publications. And the 4th or 5th publication was Express Business Avenues. They are trade titles going to very specific audiences. Express Business Avenues went to, it was basically a cluster of tender advertisements which was aggregated, and it had some material on energy and various other areas, and that was the time that I happened to meet Professor A.G. Iyer, who loved talking at various institutes. He was with the energy companies like Jyoti and others, and he started writing a column called Energy Talk. That is how our association started. The column got better. There were more readers. It was very, very explanatory. In fact, now when I recollect, I can identify Professor Saab with 2 very interesting characters. One is Carl Sagan, who did a series on space, and he would narrate the story of space in such a manner that it made interesting viewing. It is in the It was in the 90s that this serial ran. The other gentleman that I can correlate Professor Iyer is somebody who stood for the IT industry called Devang Mehta. We have a great occasion to make this as a very, very historic event because we have the right government, we are putting the right paperwork. I think we need to empower a person like Professor Iyer, who has got tremendous energy. I think that he has not left any chapter of energy incomplete. When he talks to me, when he comes to my office, he almost gives me a picture of what the scenario would be, how energy just is not energy but affects every walk of life. Imagine India to lead in energy professionals, like when Devang Mehta fought for the IT industry, he got India on the map of the world because of IT. I think Professor Iyer has the capacity to make energy professionals be exported to the world after it can satisfy ourselves. This big plan, I think he's looking at television, not the way television is run. I think he has done more than 120 programs. I have seen some of them. Amazing clarity with a bunch of very dedicated youngsters. And he says, Santosh, we can train them. So I think he can propel people in engineering colleges who don't have jobs, don't know what to get the fire that how one sector, just the energy sector, the power sector, he can move mountains. But what he needs is our support and just not talk, but we need to walk the talk. So I think we need to make this as a very eventful day. Many of us hold important positions, some in media, some in hydro, some. Let us use everything to empower this man who works. I mean, today he works 18 hours, but I think he can add a 2 hour or 2 more. He can mentor people. He can take things ahead. Very few people like him, very selfless. I was talking to him the other day and said, here's a man from Dombivli who has come to Delhi. He comes alone, he talks to people, meets them, fires them with his imagination. But I think we need to take something from him and, really give back in some manner. I think if we talk of him, I think him as a very better Indian, which I have a foundation called Better India Foundation. I think all of us over here need to empower him. We need to declare ourselves as better Indians. We need to do something about it and take it very strongly that we have now got a place in the sun. So it's just not another meeting. I think it's very historic, right time that we are having this meeting. All white papers, blue papers, black papers are ready with him. All statistics are ready. He has the best people in his think tank. What do we need now? We need to talk about it. Till the people who are able to act on it, they have no other go. They have to implement it. That's the role of media. I see that as a big role. If we are not doing that, we are not doing our job. So what is media today? It's just not print, online, whatever. So I think he has built a lot of these articulation platforms. So with this recognition of the unknown, we should be able to bring everybody into the forefront with their views on energy. Just this one subject and put India on the world map. Already the statistics which he read out shows that we, in parity terms, we are number 3. I think we can take it to number 1. And that's all possible because we have enough resources. We need to think right, act on many of them. Some states are showing the way, and that will lead the way for others. So I would really request everyone not to just be present here, but sort of take a vow that we are going to be behind him. Because where will you get another A.G. Iyer? It's very difficult. I mean, it's something which is very rare. So let's make this work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Santoshji. As he rightly reminded one thing, that the potential, so I forgot to label that. Today's meeting is 1000 gigawatt potential by 2032, of which we say 250 gigawatt can be renewable. That means we wanted the renewable, and this 250 does not include hydro, because that's the way it's gone, because hydro is seen as a major driver of the industry. So if we add hydro to that, we would see something like 400 gigawatt worth of projects, up there in renewable portfolio in totality, because hydro is renewable according to me. And it's unfortunate that the whole discussion is only the small hydro is renewable and the rest is not. How it's different? There's no difference. The same water is being exploited for generation of power. So that part has to change. So if we add that, then this whole equation is 1000 gigawatt with 400 gigawatt of hydro and renewables together. That is the hydro and all the renewables together, and 600 coming from the rest. But The hard reality is still 600 comes from conventional sources. We're still at 60. We have not graphically changed a lot of things. So I would love to see if we can change that plan to a 50-50 at least, and or reverse it. So that is the outcome of this meeting should lead towards that direction, rather than having a status quo on what I am talking about right now. You know, this is the scenario from today. It's like what we can expect if we go like what we are doing today. But if we want to change it, then the whole game will be different for us. You know, that the renewables will take over along with hydro. So that is the type of argument. And what is the potential? The potential, again, we have written $3 trillion worth of potential by 2032. But remember, the definition of $3 trillion that is at today's cost, and it is referring to today's GDP. India's GDP is 2 trillion. So the potential of just one sector, renewable, is 1.5 times the GDP at today's cost. Right? So at that point of time, if we do an NPV, the net present value, we would come to anywhere between 17 to 18 trillion dollar of, I would say, growth in just one sector. So that's the type of potential. They don't reflect into the GDP in real terms, but that's the kind of build-up that you will see. Because you can, you know, those in the projects know it. When you start the project cost is one. And when you actually end up, especially in areas like hydro, 9 years down the line, when you look at your figures, and then there's a whole noise out there. नहीं ये तो बहुत costly कर दिया, ये तो बहुत बड़ा कर दिया. One of the people do not understand that ideas like hydro are invested. A hydro dam, in my opinion, and a project with power export is for 100 years plus. Take it from me. Go and have a look at Bhakra. We have, you know, Agarwal sahab, we will tell you, that project will continue to generate and continue to supply water to 4 states. Narmada, from where our friend Hetal comes, where we have been many times. It is a dream of a project helping 4 states. So these are the gems of India, you know, and these will be definitely the background of growth for the next round of the modern India. So as I explained to you, Arunachal needs a mega project, you know, and not one. We can decentralize. We need not go the Three Gorges way. We need to build much, I would say, decentralized projects. You know, we should not put everything in one place, but we can go on building decentralized projects, and we also need to, on the other side, look at the ecological flow. So if we do that, then pseudo-environmentalists who come in to stall your project will not come. Like, I've never understood the entire argument on the raising of dam height of Narmada to 138. If 2.5 lakh people are to be displaced, it is no big deal for India. Because it was something like 2 crore people were displaced in the case of the Three Gorges Dam, and everybody was compensated according to the world. But my information says that it was ruthlessly done, and India has not done this ever. Every time we have done it decently by calling the people. But I think we missed something. I was at this Ghatkar Dam, you know, which is a 250 megawatt, and it's constructed by Patel Engineering, and this is the only roller compacted dam in Asia, constructed dam. Now Bhutan will have one if Khazanchi ji goes through it, you know, and for speeding his project. But basically that's a full dam constructed on roller compact concrete. It is from my place in the suburbs, barely, I would say, I have to just go about an hour and a half to reach Ghatkar. But pathetic. A radius of 10 kilometers of villages do not have electricity, do not have water. Do you want to develop projects like this? I wrote to Shinde Saab. It fell on deaf ears. They did nothing, only paid lip service to the whole project. I'm sorry, I'm naming the person here. But it was not done. Only that we were coming and talking, but nobody did anything. Why then? How will people come and stand with you in development? The first issue and the first marketing is this, that nearby people should get 24/7 access to electricity. And I tell you, that needs nothing. Out of the 250 megawatt that Ghatkar Dam generates, I tell you, we just need about 5 to 10 megawatt to fire these people's households. Is it so difficult to do that? Issues. Anyway, I would now like K. Ravi Kumar Saab to start the discussion today and tell us, you know, where we stand, what is the future. Go ahead, sir.
I think all of you are power experts, so if you see, you know, first, whatever is the said and done, thermal still seems to be the backbone of Indian power industry. So about 67% of power which is coming is from thermal, and whatever is being added, it is mostly thermal. Somehow, you know, the others I can explain later that how they are not picked up that much compared to thermal because it is easier to put and also it is standardized units. I think even in thermal, what I am seeing is that one is, today we are having problem of coal availability and the space at which the units have been constructed and the size of the units, etc. And also the nature of technology. If you see, you can 60 megawatt set or a 30 megawatt set or a 110 megawatt set or 120 megawatt. These are the sets available today in the country. If you replace them, you can get about 10,000 megawatt, and the heat rate of the station, if you see, is 2600 kilocalories per kg in case of 110 megawatt power station, whereas if you see 660 megawatt with 565 superheat and 600 reheat, it gives close to 2050 to 2100. So you can save 25% of coal straight away by changing these stations. They are already 30 years old. When I was there in BHL and we, NTPC and CEA and Power Ministry, we formed a committee. We actually graded the stations, those who are operating below 40% PLF, 40 to 60% PLF, 60 to 80% PLF, and above 80% PLF. So we said that those who are operating, for example, Barauni, Muzaffarpur and all that, below 40%, they have to be changed to higher sets, higher rate sets. You can save 25% of the fuel. So then if you see the second thing, what we were doing is 40 to 60%, you have to do a little more of R&M, and above 60 to 80% you must give operational consultancy to those units, and above 80% you can leave. So the PLF will improve, the coal consumption is improved. A power station is judged by this. How effectively you are running a power station is not the megawatt alone, it is the PLF of the power station, specific oil consumption, so that you don't have trips and all that. Then you have to fire oil, so specific oil consumption. And thirdly, the heat rate of the power station, that is how much coal you consume for a particular amount of electricity. And fourthly, the auxiliary power consumption. Auxiliary power consumption goes for feeding the different units of feed pumps and all that. So what I was telling is that we had made an exercise. By this we can save about 20 to 25% of the fuel what is required for the same amount of electricity. Fuel is going to become more and more costly. The inflation figure I can tell you is around 7 to 8%, it will increase. So definitely this exercise is necessary. Then you have to operate well, as I told, all the auxiliary power, then heat rate and emissions. Emissions is going one thing. Today May is the hottest temperature in the world today, this year. So emissions is very important, and I can tell you the emissions of our sets are not good, and especially the new Chinese sets, they all will be scrapped if emission norms are followed. So this is my personal observation, not that I am from, I was from BHL, no, but the general feeling is that the ESPs are not that efficient. So what I am telling is that we should operate on all this, that's number one. And number two is, in India, the worst thing is the interest rate. If you see the interest rate, it is about 14 to 15% and sometimes 16%. So if you don't have a foreign currency loan, if the project is delayed by 2 years, you have IDC rises by about 28%. So what happens is the whole thing becomes uneconomical, and the PPA is fixed, and that's the reason. And for this, what is necessary is a single window clearance from the government. What is happening is the project gets stuck at 80%. If it gets stuck at 0%, it's okay. But if the project gets at 80%, then your IDC goes up quite heavily. So what is necessary is that all the clearances, single window clearance, must be given by the government, and deliveries by indigenous units, they are very poor still. Though I am from BHL, the deliveries from the indigenous units are not sequential and poor. So they should be made to cut Chinese standards actually. I mean, Chinese have got an edge on this. They commissioned the project in 36 months time, supercritical sets of 800 megawatt or 660 megawatt. So I think the country needs to adopt those methods so that we can also commission these units in 36 months. So next is hydro, as Professor Iyer said, and I think we should exploit the potentials. I think already things are going on to change generator installation to class of inflation. That gives about a 10% increase in power output. So, and also a lot of work on the blades have been done. So there is a necessary of existing R&M and also new projects. In new projects, it is a 10-year project actually, most of the hydro. I think lot of things are necessary. R&R is very heavy. I was in theory along with the previous Power Secretary, Mr. Sahi. It was the R&R costs are very, very high. Something seem to be believed, though the station is very good. I mean, excellent station, but still the R&R issues have to be resolved. I don't think 50% of the cost should go to R&R. So we should see that, how it can be effectively done so that the costs of other than equipment and this one civil comes down, so that it's really, it becomes profitable. But today, you may be surprised, the nuclear station is also, they are quoting something close to 10 crore per megawatt.
Yes, sir.
So I don't think initial investment in hydro is high. That way it's not correct to say that. Today I am surprised by the quotes. I was in Nuclear Power Commission's office, and this is the fact actually, that nuclear power is going to cost as much as initial investment. I'm not telling about the running cost. The initial investment cost is going to be as high as either. And thirdly, if you see nuclear, we have done some, as I told now, the fuel linkage has been somewhat solved after, one of the few, I shouldn't say, one of the things which Congress has done is really, previous government has done is that nuclear agreement, and definitely, more nuclear fuel is coming. So there is a definite improvement in nuclear. It is also a renewable. I always consider nuclear and the gas, nuclear and hydro as renewable energies. So, and if you see, one 500 megawatt fast breeder reactor is being constructed at Kalpakkam. It produces more fuel than what it consumes. So, and finally, if you can use thorium as fuel, probably, you can come to, India can be self-sufficient in only nuclear energy. But the initial cost has to come down. So recently, I don't know the status, but today we signed a lot of agreements with Arriva, Westinghouse, and also with Rosatom regarding the putting up of reactors. There is not much technology available. Only L&T is slightly there and BHL is slightly there, but we can't build a reactor. Only the conventional portion is being done by this. So now there must be a concerted effort. If you want to bring down 10 crore per megawatt to say 6 crore per megawatt or 7 crores per megawatt, there must be a concerted effort to bring the reactor portion back to Indian construction, so that the cost can come down. And also it's a good opportunity for, if some of your industrialists, most of the industrialists, I tell them that why can't you put some money in this, so that, it is going to be one of the features. 10 into 700 is coming, and 1000 megawatt, 1600 megawatt Westinghouse is also a good design. So if somebody can really go with them and put a joint venture here in India, it's going to be a real business. And as far as gas is concerned, as you know, we must go only for advanced class gas turbines, and I prefer Alstom GT26 or something like that, which has the highest efficiency as far as Alstom is concerned. I think GE has acquired Alstom, so BHL may get the technology of GT26 also perhaps. So that's one advanced class gas turbine we have to put, so that gas consumption can be reduced. I think it will be around $6.5 per million BTU will be there, and it can be used as a picking station. See, if you see in Tamil Nadu, 4,000 megawatt is produced by wind, and only 2,000 is being consumed, because it is even the previous day they are not sure how much they are going to do. They are going to generate next day. So because wind is so uncertain, so 4,000 megawatt of power is there, but only 2,000. One is grid connectivity is one problem that they are solving by next year end, but the problem will still remain of they are not infirm, because every day wind velocity changes. So what is additionally they don't want to enter a long-term PPA, even a short-term PPA. One-day PPA also they cannot enter. So what is required is some kind of advanced class gas turbine on open cycle mode or something like that to take care of that day's problem. So a combination of gas and this will work. And also recently I saw a power station in US, Florida, that gas come solar. Actually in the combined cycle portion, the solar heat is being used in the heater, so that before the heater it comes to about 400 degrees, and then 380 is the heat temperature for a solar thermal outlet. So that is being added, and then it is combined solar cum gas. So I think that's one area where India can look at it. I think as wind, solar is very good potential is there. So wind, there is Tamil Nadu has done very good work in this, and Gujarat has also done. I think it should be repeated in Maharashtra also. There are a lot of wind potential is there, and solar, of course, one problem is the radiation index actually. So I think MNRE has done terrific work on solar. I gone to them, when I did a solar project in Rajasthan, 50 megawatt project. I went to them and really they got very good data, and I think everybody can benefit if they visit the MNRE office and then get those data. As far as biomass is concerned, I feel bagasse fired, as Professor Iyer has said, it is very useful. Recently, when I was there in 96 to 98, we constructed for EID Paris and Trivandrum on sugars, bagasse based plants. They use bagasse during the working and then lignite beyond, when bagasse is not available. So that kind of stations can produce quite a well, and sugar will be a byproduct, and power will be the main product for sugar mills. So this is the kind of scenario you are getting there actually. What I feel is wind, solar and biomass, there are good, this one. This is on generation. On distribution, we should go for HVDC and also high voltage AC transmission. Today we find, you are just connecting the line. I was with CEA. So I think another source of information is CEA. We should interact with them. They have very good information on total scenario in the country. So I always visit them, whether I need or not, I visit them. They have very good data. So they are telling, though the connectivity is there, 100% standby is required in most of the cases. For example, the southern corridor which they are connecting, it can as well serve only as standby for the existing HVDC. So it is necessary to have more connectivity. I think if I have to invest one script, I was in with investors for last 3 days in Bombay. If I had to invest in one grid, power grid will be the only chip. So that we should invest. So this is regarding that. And thirdly, on distribution, there is a necessity to have the distribution setup increased, and also to see that AT&C losses, which is at 28%, to be brought down to a level of 12%. So these are the things. I think on coal and all that, government is doing a lot of things. Surplus coal selling by auctioning, and connectivity of various ports. I think the new power minister has given a number of steps. I think coal availability will improve in the short run by 5%, and there is a necessity to increase it further. And roll and rate connectivity also should be improved. For example, Jajjar and Dadri, they carry the same coal in the same track. So it's a problem. How to really do the rail connectivity to the mines. I have a lot of things to speak, but I think we can interact more than this. I conclude my lecture. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Two important things, which I want to just comment. Like we at Renewable Energy Promotion Association have also labeled, this nuclear as a renewable energy. So it's important to have the debate in this country why nuclear is renewable. It is a completely carbon-free energy. The confusion we have is related to safety issues and not pollution issues. So always we confuse this discussion. So if this discussion is not confused upon, and we come to the fact that nuclear is de facto generating energy without generating carbon, then it is sustainable. Like the phosphorated reactor produces more fuel than it consumes. So it is a self-sustaining reaction. So, and those kind of technologies, when they come in, we will see the real nuclear renewable. I met in 2009 at British Columbia University, Professor Robert Evans, who has written a beautiful book and must read for every average person for energy. And that is called Fueling the Future. And he gifted that book to me. I don't know, somebody flipped it from me, of course, because I could not find it for the last few years now. I don't even remember where it is, but I kept it so safely. But still it's not there. But the book is in my head because I saw a lucid explanation of energy and everything, and he defined nuclear as renewable. And he had a lot of people who opposed him, but they are all coming down to square one, because it was very surprising. I never wrote such a book, although I wrote a book called Powering in Crisis, which is out of print right now, and I need to, because many times publishers don't get a publisher for themselves. So that is a horrible fact. So when I have to publish a book, then I have to end up publishing myself. Okay? So if I get a chance, and I'll revamp that book and talk about nuclear as renewable again. But that is one of the very key points that he said, and the importance of the Indo-US nuclear deal from that angle, that India can take care of a lot of issues by sustaining that, Other than that, what he rightly said is, renewable energy, the biggest problem is storage, We have seen all other technologies going up, but storage technologies are not there. Sun is there for, let's say, about 6 hours flat, you can get the result. Because 8 hours the sun is there, but the intensity varies throughout the day based on climatic and other conditions. If we generate 6 hours, it is 6 hours that we generate. But that is also great. We must go for it. So in India, our thinking is, okay, we don't have storage, so therefore we will not be able to do solar. So that is also a very negative argument. We have to do solar. And I would say if government is clever, what they would do is 20 gigawatt of solar they'll put only in rural. That would have been the mission. I said mission can be expanded to 50 gigawatt. We made a white paper. Why I am saying that? Every day you promise politically that you'll give free power. Instead of that, you can say, I give you 6 hours of free power. Because one-time infrastructure, at today's cost of literally 6 crores per megawatt, it is a absolute steal. Somebody must go and do this instead of getting all these ideas to only let the urban sector pay and not on FIT. Again, feed-in tariff, in Hindi we call it Baisakhi. You're taking a support system which is not, why we need a feed-in tariff? We simply go to competitive power models. Feed-in tariff will again be dangerous because we are talking reverse bidding. Somehow I have never agreed to competitive bidding, sir, because it is L1, lowest. And what is lowest? Lowest is actually kachra, if you ask me. Because all that Chinese stuff that we have got, and all my private sector guys, 70 gigawatt of this Chinese thing has come in through an RTI. We have got that information with us. This is 4,20,000 crores of investment. That means $70 billion, biggest scam in the country. And not one media channel of my friends. I gave to, I don't want to name them today. All of them I gave them the data. None of them are interested because they barely understand the subject. All of them sit there every evening. I was stunned when the Prime Minister went to Bhutan, which was our April issue, which we contributed to Bhutan, and we wrote to him. We're very happy to say that Anusha wrote and said, you must, not look at the other countries but SAARC, and we were very happy that the PM was there. And in a way, we were vindicated by our stand of doing that issue in April. And look at what the media has done. On that evening, we had no discussion on any channel on the Bhutan issue. But morning they all showed. Prime Minister going, talking, all the pastry stuff was going on. But nobody understood the geostrategic importance in energy and other terms of why we went to Bhutan, why he went all the way. Because there were 7 to 8 heads of state on the day from the SAARC region. Why should he only visit Bhutan? And next thing, I predicted it. He will not go to Japan. And he has cancelled his visit to Japan, see, with Shinzo Abe. And you know what is the reason for that? I will explain to this audience. The reason is we are very worried about what is happening in Iraq. And we need his presence here. We need decision making here. We are watching what is happening in Iraq. So a lot of things out there, the important thing is already done, Bhutan. And we are trying to go to Bhutan in August because we do a hydrovision conclave there every year since last year. 5 years I did it in India. I'm doing for the next 5 years in Bhutan. And they cooperate with me. A country we must love to cooperate with, So with these, I would like, because it started with the hydro thing now, after Ravi Kumar ji said, we'll go with Yogendra Prasad ji on hydro. And
Dear friends, just I would like to talk differently on the power sector, because what I find, I have written many articles, and recently in 2012 also I have written one article, Health of Indian Power System, its impact on Indian economy, and I got it emailed to all the MPs, MLAs of entire India, but only one MP from Madras would give feedback to me. That is the type of education we are having. Then I feel that 99% people of our country do not know what they are to do and what are the wrong things with the power sector. Just I want to show you, this is the order of the Regulatory Commission. It was issued only on earlier. I had written on the basis of Regulatory Commission order of 2010. And now this is the Regulatory Commission new order of 6th January 2014. And with the help of this, I want to explain you the fundamentals of the power sector. Everybody talking this much $1 billion we are going to earn. But I am telling you, this way situation is going on, we are not understanding the meaning of the mix of the power. We are not understanding what is the value of hydro, what is the value of nuclear, what is the value of thermal, what is the value of gas power. These are the basic things. That's why I want to explain the basic thing, so that I am keeping before you the rates. Just see, in Regulatory Commission order, which is a legal order, we have been asked to draw our power between 49.9 to 50.05 hertz frequency. This is the limit allowed. And you know it very well how frequency varies. Whatever you are generating, if you are not consuming, frequency goes high. If you are generating a particular megawatt and you are consuming more, frequency goes down. Means high frequency and low frequency both are detrimental for the power generating machines. Ravi Kumar ji here, he knows, and everybody, all of you are professional engineers, you know it very well. Now just see, at 50.05 hertz frequency, you are allowed to draw power at zero cost. Just see the value of this. It's just like your blood pressure. If you are having blood pressure, your survival is very difficult. That's why I have told that at 50.05 there is something serious, that grid is ready to give you power without any payment. And when you are drawing power at 50 hertz frequency, your wholesale rate is 1.98 paisa. And when we are drawing the power at 49.9, 4 rupees 7 paisa. And when you are going to 49.7, your rate is more than 8 rupees. This is the wholesale rate. Just try to understand the meaning. Unless you are going to understand the economy, I have forecasted that entire discoms who are dealing with the power sector, they will get bankrupted in no time. The others have already gone, because consumption is not in your hand. Just see, power is being generated. Consumption is in the hands of the people, 125 crore people of the country. Now, when the frequency, sometimes storms are coming, sometimes rain is coming. Now our distribution system is the most difficult situation, that distribution system is not at all okay. See, you have brought the grid code is all right. For this I was always fighting when I was chairman of the NHPC, and always fighting that kindly bring the frequency within the limit of 49.5 to 50.5. And even that was not being allowed. After a lot of fight, when I could impress upon Kumar Mangalam Sahib, he was the most knowledgeable minister in this country, he is no more now, but at least he is the most knowledgeable man in this country. He realized, and then he allowed the frequency to vary between 49.5 to 50.5. And now, just see, in 2010, frequency was allowed to vary between 49.7 to 50.2. And just after 3 years, when private players are in the power generation, now this has been brought to 49.9 to 50.05. Just is a narrow range. This is the narrow range being adopted in America, Japan, UK. That is the narrow range we are having. Just try to understand who can survive, or who can save the power sector in this situation, because we have to save the machine also. Now regulators are saying that you have to have the maintenance cost at 1% of your capital cost. Earlier what was happening? DHL machines were there mostly. They are getting damaged, lot of cost was coming, every time problems were coming sometimes because of this frequency problem. So Regulatory Commission order is exactly all right, but are we okay with the mix? See, unless we are going to have, first thing, unless we are going to have pump storage scheme, we have the scope of more than 93,000 megawatts. CWC man, Mr. Fareja is here. They know everything. 93,000 megawatt potential is available in India from the study done in 1950. Maybe today it may be more and more. But unfortunately, we have developed till date 4,700 megawatt. Only recently someone thing was done. And once, just I have to tell the story also, in this country what is happening. Bureaucrats are ruling, politicians are ruling. Certainly politicians are the political bosses. But at the key point, those who do not know the economics of power sector, do not know anything, they are the boss. And I still remember the scene that Purulia pump storage, NHPC was also to do that in joint sector, and I was making the presentation as CMD of NHPC. At that time, the expenditure secretary just started telling, it is not economical. I told him, when I was presenting, you were gossiping to my secretary. And now you are telling, I know it very well, the 100 megawatt if I am going to put in the power, it will give 70 megawatt only. But it is a Kuramin for power sector. And two engineers who are knowing the hydro project working in the NTPC recently had come to me. I gave them the paper because they were doing some PhD. I gave them advice and the paper has been selected in Italy. Just see, when you have frequency at 50.05, 02, 04, from where you are going to bring the load to save the power system, you have to cut the generator. And in thermal power plant, you know it very well, that first is here. If you are going to cut the generator or make the shutdown, then restarting is a big problem. Then you have to burn the fuel for keeping the machine on no load also. Otherwise your boiler will not take up. So these are the problems. That's why I am telling, recently I have given on Twitter also, and only 5 days back, then there was, some people have commented that I have only written that fundamental of power sectors are not being understood by the government technical experts. Then somebody quoted me, why you have not blamed the bureaucrats? And bureaucrats are not supposed to know. You are supposed to know, and you should be bold enough to tell a spade is a spade. Unless you are doing that. See, national power policy was to be made by the CA. Why CA was created? Only to make national power policy. It has never been made. I have been, when I was chairman, so many times there were fight going on, and everybody knows that at that time, even I met the president of India and for forest clearance, other things, I met many complaints. The unnecessary people are not understanding their duties. Everybody thinks I am boss. Under such circumstances, situation will not improve. Now just see, if, just try to understand, DISCOMs are making the agreement with consumers. Just see, if your power rate is 2 rupees at 50 hertz frequency, what is going to be the final cost after adding the transmission loss, adding the distribution loss, adding the theft, some quantity, and then some profit to the DISCOM? It is going to be almost double the generation. If it is 2 rupees, another cost will come to 2 rupees. Finally, minimum tariff you have to keep at 4.5 rupees. For distribution, for domestic, I am telling you of anything. Then, if you are going to drop power at 49.9, your wholesale rate is 4 rupees 17 paisa. Then your rate will go to more than 8 rupees. From where DISCOM will bring the profit? And how they can control, unless they have the proper mix. Just why I am telling that hydro project is required not run of the river. Rather, projects which are run of the river, that should also be turned into a reservoir project, so that we can have surplus energy available in the system. Just see, the benefit of hydro is that it can start within minutes, stop within minutes. This facility is available only with gas power projects, but unfortunately, in our country, we don't have the gas. And either if you are going to import, cost will go to more than 60 rupees. Now, the power is such a peculiar thing that we can't store it. Now, solar, we have to develop. You can use solar in the daytime throughout the country. But in the evening time, you can start reservoir slowly, the moment frequency coming down. Just I have seen and closely watched the development of China, because I have visited more than 15 times to China since last 87. And I have seen it now that their frequency is most of the time I am telling you, even 15 to 20 hours, continuously it is 50-50. Because they have got pumped storage, they have got the storage. Even UK power is maintained through that. But I don't know, the country which knows everything, in our country, people talk, I have added this much megawatt, that much megawatt. But they don't understand the fundamental of the subject. Now just see Brazil. Brazil has 93,000 megawatt of 93% of total hydro. Only 5-6% they are managing with thermal, because thermal, you can store the coal for the future. But as much as water is available with you, kindly use it. And what Risha was telling regarding the rehabilitation settlement, just I am telling you, that I have done it practically in NHPC. Did that project in less than 3 years balance work. And then what I did, another work. I'm just telling you, just see how works are not being done. I told Divya Singh Sahab, kindly sir, have the meeting with railway minister and let us draw an MOU. He told me, yes, because he took lot of interest at that time. I don't know what is his position now, but at that time he was another man and he took lot of interest in that work. So what happened? He came with me to Nitish Kumar Sahab and we called the railway board chairman. We signed an MOU that in 9 months time railway will be shifting all these things. After signing the MOU, work of railway and work of NHPC were defined in that MOU. I went back and Jayaprakash was our contractor at the time doing the dam. I told him to start the working. Railway thought Mr. Prasad will call the tender, take because they thought that it would be done next year. Within 2 months time, dam was raised 15 meters because work was going on round, because when I worked in NHPC, I did hydro press in 4 years. So mera is an example, and my all of officers are here. So see, then what happened? In 2 months, I raised the dam by 15 meters. Suddenly railway safety forces people came and they told my chief engineers be arrested of NHPC. And why? What has happened? Then I told him, if you have to arrest me, I am the responsible for that because I am chairman of the NHPC and I am responsible for that. But I took up the matter with the chief minister and A.B. Singh was the chief secretary. I took him there. This MOU was signed by between the two ministers, railway minister and power the chief minister. And we are implementing that. What is wrong in it? Then he realized and he told the railway nothing doing. NHPC has not done anything wrong here. Finally you have to do. That is the history for India. 4 divisions were opened by railways because everybody knew that 80 trains will be cancelled between Delhi and Bombay. And now dam was raised by 15 meters. Such a big dam, it was not peaceful to break it. Finally, in 4 months' time, railway worked like anything. I also helped them a lot. And finally, their work was done. I told the chairman, Mr. Chairman, if I would have taken ordinarily, this project would never have been done. Never. But finally, crisis was created and the project came. So that's why I'm telling you today, I'm writing out regularly on Twitter also, even 2-3 things I've given, that hydro is a technical compulsion for India. Because what happened? When you are having a reservoir project, whenever energy, the frequency goes down, smoothly you can increase the load. Smoothly you can increase the load. And because in thermal and nuclear, it is best suited for fixed load, base load. But power consumption will be always variable because it depends on the 125 crore people. And that is the distribution side. So India should do 2 things. I'm giving you the practical examples, not I'm talking of many things. We'll discuss now and we shall finalize. But first thing, we should make the distribution system of India, we should start from metropolitan cities immediately underground so that failure of power is not there. Secondly, we should do reservoir project and pump storage project with maximum priority. That's why I have given to Prime Minister one other tweet. I have given him that huge damages has been done to the power sector. Now work on war footing can only repair the damages. And there was phone on the phone Prime Minister. I told him, even God comes, India will not get power around the clock. It is not Gujarat. Forget Gujarat. Gujarat has lot of power generation capacity since beginning itself. Since last 12 years, Modi have done lot of things. But because they are not drawing power mostly from grid. That's why Gujarat is the only state which is today running in profit. But the reason is that they are not drawing power from the central grid. Mostly it is only connected. Every grid is connected. But they are not drawing. Now see, if you are not having proper mix, your generation goes to 49.9, then you just see the rate, 4.12 rupees wholesale rate, then your power rate is 9 rupees and you have signing agreement with 5 rupees for 4 rupees. From where will bring the money? Just tell me. I'm just talking practical things before every audience. If I am wrong, tell me. Because this fundamental is not being understood. Now what is happening? Private sector which are running in the America, Canada, Japan, their frequency is most of the time, it is 50 hertz. America frequency is 60 hertz. Now see, hydropower is so important, even America has 75% gas reserve with them. Because although not ready with gas, where is hydro is not there. But they are drawing power from hydro from Canada in river grid, where their grid is more than 7 lakh megawatt. They are drawing power from Canada, all hydros. Because the flexibility is there, environmental problems are not there. Because you have to see that what is required. If you are taking a food, you are taking some vegetable, pulse, rice, everything. You can take it that your bread and rice is there, the thermal and nuclear. But you have to take other things also. They have to have the proper mix. Then only you can see. Secondly, hydro construction of project is not so easy. It is not your money which can construct the hydro. It is the knowledge requirement based on the knowledge. What happened? After my departure, there are a lot of politics, and I don't want to talk all those things. After my retirement, though there were recommendations that perhaps would be allowed to continue, I never went back after them because IL lobby was working against me. Too many things were there that hydro should not come. Finally, what happened? We had brought from 21% to 27%. This hydro I brought 27%. As so many work, 23,000 megawatt hydro projects, GPR for the Arunachal Pradesh was made ready by NHPC and work was to take off. And I had started one project, Subansari. And wherever I wanted, after my departure, what happened to NHPC is a matter of subject that people can inquire that what has happened to NHPC has finished almost. No project after that could be taken up by them. All projects, where it has gone, just come see. Just see. The question is, you have to work. मैं तो मोदी साहब को बोलने जा रहा हूँ कि आप जो बोलते हो 56 इंच की सीना, ये चाहिए हाइड्रोपेड करने के लिए, दूसरे को नहीं चाहिए. मैं सही बोल रहा हूँ. देखिए, हम बुरा नहीं मानिएगा, कोई एनटीपीसी का हो तो बुरा नहीं मानेंगे. एनटीपीसी के पास बहुत पैसा है, कमी नहीं है थर्मल में. बहुत सा प्रॉब्लम, कैसे पैसा बढ़ गया वो भी जान, सब बात नहीं छोड़िए. मैं इतना कहता हूँ कि उन्होंने आज तक एक भी प्रोजेक्ट बनाया. Whenever Rajinder Singh was alive, he was telling me, Mr. Prasad, I will make project in 4 years, 5 years. I told Rajinder Singh, if you make project in 10 years, I'll be the happiest man, I'll solve it you. But now he's no alive, so I should not tell anything, but I'm just telling you, इसके लिए knowledge चाहिए. Now what happened? After I left NHPC, my private sector also was brought in, and that was a big politics behind it. I don't want to name here, otherwise there will be a problem. And time will come, it will be all coming on surface also. Just Mr. Karag is here, just ask him. He was member of one of the team committees that also I have given the work. He was made in experts committee, people wanted to entangle me in that. And he was one of the members. How good work was done, that nobody could find out a single mistake against me. Where CA chairman was also there. Even once I was having the meeting, I don't remember whether Thareja was there or not, but at least Bajaj was there, who was chairman of CA. Achal Bajaj was there, who was chairman CA. Mr. Shahi tells, Mr. Prasad, you are always raising question on frequency. But do you know, NTPC machines are designed for 2.5 hertz frequency variation. Just I was stunned to hear it. I told him simply, Mr. Shahi, whether I am talking to an engineer or not. After that, I found to be what is happening. I told him what you are telling. Even in America, there are research paper by there I have given here. It was came in the Susan Times like anything. Public sectors are bleeding white blood. Prasad is taking frequency variation. At that time, I had told that kindly bring the frequency variation within 1 hertz. America, there was a research paper. They had given instruction that please take out all genetic plants on the frequency variation is 0.5 hertz up and down. And I was personally present. I had gone there in Sacramento grid. They were buying power. I still remember at $17 per megawatt hour. They are selling there at $3 per megawatt hour. I just asked them why you are doing like this and how you are going to be economical. Then they told that we are paid very for that in peak hour, but I have to save our machine that is more costlier than that is this rate. Just try to understand, we are not spending any money like India on the repairing of the generators for 4 or 5 years. Just see the economics of power sector. So that's why I have raised this question before you, and this is the order which I have brought. It is a government order, not it is my order. It is a regulatory commission's order. After all, it has something. I don't want to go on all those details. But it has something that when frequency is high, your rate is very, very low. Just you want to. So that's why I'm telling you, we have to develop compressor scheme and reservoir projects, because we don't have so much gas available with us. And then your efficiency of thermal will also go very high, because see, the moment ultra mega project was being investigated in India, at that time also I refused Mr. Sahi that doing the startup for India. Because another thing I'm just telling you, Odisha will agree with me, on thermal projects with little variation of frequency, it trips quickly. And when it trips, then it becomes problem. But because the short circuit ratio is less than 1. Then what is happening actually in this country is that we are thinking, mostly 99% citizens are thinking, why there is power cut, why this is all these things. Recently, just I'm telling you, in this May, June, first week I had gone to my village, it is in Bihar. We are getting only 2 hours power in my village. And out of 2 hours, I personally noted that there was 5 interruptions. Because I was seeing a serial on the TV, and of my interest, that's why I've kept a generator also there. But whenever they were tripping, then I started generator. So I was so angry on that day, because I have gone to my village after 1 year. So I told him, this liar politicians are telling that I will give power to everybody. Even Nitish Kumar has given that if he will not give power to everybody by 2015, he will not ask for vote. That is a statement, press statement he has given. Because Manmohan Singh has given a statement in 2014, I will give power to everybody. Even Geete Sahab was my minister, because I was always blamed for my out-of-spoken things. He told me, Rajiv Gandhi, that electrification program is going on, so we will give power to by 2012 to everybody. Then at that time, I told clearly that you are going to give power to everybody or to power to none. Like, what are you doing? I mean, just why not adding that how much you are going to generate power first. Just see, India, only BHL is there, just ask them how much order is there, when they are going to complete their projects. And then you ask all some other outsiders who are doing that. Just see what is happening in hydro. Every hydro project is a separate design, because here everything depends on discharge and head. Discharge and head cannot be alike for 2 projects. It cannot be, because if you have any cascading projects, head is different, discharge is different. Just see, so daughter difficulty are there. CWC is created for design of the mostly for hydro projects. So they know it very well, what is the problem. And in private sector, very difficult. I have told beginning itself, you are going to have power sector, that hydro in the private sector, it is going to be very dangerous. But everybody was interested for himself at that time. Why they were interested, everybody knows it. Everybody knows in the country that why people were interested in allotting hydro projects to private players. Now what has happened? Single project has not come in Arunachal Pradesh. Even JP could do some projects. That Kanchar Bangtu, that his man is here, Mr. Goel. But what happened finally? Only 15 days back, there was a news in the paper, Economic Times, Alok Mehta ji can confirm, that GVK, GMR, Longco, JP, everybody wants to sell his power projects, because they are not surviving. Similarly, discoms are also not surviving, and there is no surprise. Any time I'm just telling you that you will find that all have gone bankrupt, and finally government had to come to save the people of the country. Finally, everything will go to under control, just like army. Now today, power is so important, just like oxygen. Without power, what can you do? You are making so many plants. One day, Sibal Sahab was there, and the previous government was there. He was going to give me one award also on that day. Just he told, we have provided power to everywhere, and online transfer of money, everything is possible in our government. We are praying for you. I told him, sir, do you know how you are not giving power to villages even for 1 hour? But your banks are doing, what you are talking? I am not bank from village. I am talking to permanent, 100% correctly. India would have been the top economy in the world provided this power sector should have been taken proper care. And just I am not telling anything to anybody. People are capable. I think people will do the good things in future because Modi Sahib himself is a very, very competent top politician. And in 2004 he has called me for Kalsar project. When I was chairman of NHPC, he wanted to associate NHPC for doing their project. That is a very big project, and that at that time the cost of the project was 60,000 crore. But unfortunately, that NDA election was announced 6 months earlier. Nothing could happen. Otherwise, Modi Sahib also told me to speak something in Bhavnagar, and I spoke about more than 2 lakh people were there, and I spoke there also. So I'm just going to meet him also and going to tell him, sir, your dynamism can work only when you are going to improve the power sector. After improving the power sector, hydro cannot come immediately, but it will come after 5, 6, 7 years if you work round the clock. But one thing you can do, provide stop all subsidies to India, but provide some subsidy to gas power project which can be commissioned in 1.5 years or 2 years. Wrong. Because provide the subsidy, once power is available, India is a superpower in the world. And that you can do full time. That is why, in brief, I have told you, balance we will discuss, all experts are here. But I wanted to tell you that grid code, nobody is thinking today. But I am very minutely thinking it. On this I am writing, I am telling you, this is a university order. Beyond that, how any discount can survive. This I have told Mr. Iyer sir, on 21st of February I have gone to Vadodara, where Modi sir had fought the election. I told them at that time also, all Gujarat top people were there. I told them, you know everything, but tell me what is the solution. With these words, I wish that this organization will do something today and will recommend something good thing, and we will have discussion. So, and everybody, if you have anything, question, yeah, ready.
Prasad Sahab, as usual, it was at the India Power and Energy Conclave organized by Energia Foundation and Renewable Energy Association in Vadodara that he was talking about, and that was reported by the grid code was first reported, and it was really that we were not prepared for the kind of grid code we were writing, and almost all the papers reported in the country. But I think everything gone silent. I don't know why this topic is not at all taken, and he has been literally championing this cause, if you ask me. And this is very important when somebody champions the cause and when it falls on deaf ears. I hope the current ears are listening, and this voice I'm going to take as why we wanted Prasad Sahib to chair it, precisely the reason that we want to send this to the Prime Minister, that this is the most important issue in the country. Your discoms and everything will go defunct, as he rightly says, if we continue in this manner. So with that, but it's not a negative scenario like the other side. He said that if we handled it, like we provide subsidy to gas-based power plants, we will immediately, for the immediate answer is this and long-term answer is hydro to run with thermal. So when we do that, we'll make a superpower nation. So that is the answer. The answer is already there. It's not a doomsday situation. It's a situation that you correct immediately on war footing. Go for it. So thank you, Prasad sir, once again for this insight. And I would like Alok Mehta sir, because he has heard these two stalwarts, and also whatever we spoke. I want him to say a few words to this forum today. Alok Mehta sir is the senior most journalist in the country, and he is a Padma Shri, and he has seen India changing all around for almost 4 decades, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Hello. Frankly, I am not an expert on the power, but as a journalist or as a person from a village like Mr. Prasad, I will have some observation about, because I am very much impressed with Professor Iyer. He used to talk on television when we met on some channel also. I thought he is doing a very great job for the country, where we need more power, when we want to compete with China. And when we are talking about the Mr. Narendra Modi, who is now Prime Minister, I also met him 3 or 3.5 years back in Gandhinagar. At the time also he discussed about the power. Even I still remember one book he gave me about the power sector, what he wants to do and all. So I think we have a person like Professor Iyer, and from here to Prime Minister, they are more optimistic. And as a journalist, I always feel that we should be more optimistic. Because when we are talking about the superpower, I remember in 1985 when Rajiv Gandhi came in power, you must be, because all senior persons are there. So we went to Washington and we wanted supercomputer at the time. And Ronald Reagan was the president, and then almost it was refused. How India can imagine the supercomputer? But you see now the 40% our people, they are dominating in computers in United States itself. So if we dream something, and I'm not praising only the Rajiv Gandhi, but I'm saying that we dream something, then we can achieve also. So now in power, when we are competing with China, I remember 10 years back, almost 2005 or sometime when I went to China. 93 also I went to Narsingh Rao, and then 2003, 2005. I've seen Mr. Adani from Gujarat. He's dominated there in Shanghai. There's a big power project there. So why we can't do in India whatever resources we have? So I have few points about when we talk about nuclear. Maybe nuclear agreement is a big achievement for Dr. Manmohan Singh. We need nuclear power for big industries. But at the same time, what Mr. Prasad mentioned, we need more hydropower. Narmada, I belong to the same area, Indore and Ujjain, I belong to Ujjain. So I have seen the Narmada movement, how much we wanted Narmada should be utilized. Same thing, still the fight is going on. So, Bansagar, Bihar to Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. Now, Chhattisgarh friend Mr. Pramod Bhatt was here. So, we have a good, earlier also, like KL Rao, if you remember, in Mrs. Gandhi's cabinet. Technocrat is there in the government. So I hope after this meeting, you pass a resolution that Professor Prasad or Shri Yogendra Prasad ji or Professor Iyer, person like them, they should be active in the planning commission or maybe in some advisory board or maybe even the parliament. Because we need more technocrats in parliament instead of the politicians. They have billionaires, but we have talent, good engineers, good technocrats who can deliver in the power sector, in the water resources. I remember when somebody get the water resources, I don't name somebody, I don't want to name, but I've seen their colleagues, their subordinates, their secretaries, oh, बड़ा बेकार डिपार्टमेंट मिल गया है, वाटर रिसोर्सेज में कुछ है ही नहीं, बस सीधे कमाई नहीं होती वहाँ पर. Sorry to say, I'm not blaming, but I've seen it, that's I feel. But I remember KL Rao, he was a very dynamic person at the time. He was talking about the Kumar Mangalam. I've seen the Mohan Kumar Mangalam ji. He was also very dynamic, his father. At the time also, I remember when he must be having the coal mines and some other ministries when the air accident took place. He used to live in Kashmir. So, we had earlier also, whatever we achieved in hydro, what he was talking about Digvijay Singh, but I think number of other people were also in the politics. He was also engineer, but because he followed Lalu Yadav. Digvijay Singh told me, bhai dekhiye, Prasad ji has good experience with him, and I know against the Digvijay Singh, but उन्होंने कहा लालू यादव जीत सकता है तो हम भी बगैर काम के जीत सकते हैं. So sometime he used to please somebody, some political person, maybe sometime Mehta Patkar or some else. So this is the main problem in our politics. So I feel that even when he was engineer, Digvijay Singh, and he still is a dynamic person. But when he started with hydro, ultimately it was not going progress like what we achieved in the Chhattisgarh or in Gujarat, in Rajasthan. In solar power, now the Shivraj Singh also, they have the big project in solar in Madhya Pradesh. So I think we have to balance everything. For big industries, the nuclear energies will be very useful. The hydropower, because we have water resources. I lived in Bihar for 3 years. I've seen the floods. We are not utilizing our water resources from UP, Uttarakhand to Calcutta or Bihar and Nepal. If we have good collaboration with the Nepal, with the Bhutan, then we can generate and we can become what the vision. Because why I came here, the 2030, 32, certainly we should have achieved. We should achieve like a superpower in energy. We have the capacity. And that's why I feel that this kind of conference will certainly help. And I hope the recommendation by this conference will go to the Prime Minister. And it is, still I am optimistic. I am critical also, some extent. Maybe in his cabinet not so many intelligent people are there. So maybe after some time there will be more cabinet ministers, maybe more advisory board members, and technocrats will be there. Maybe the bureaucrats will be there. But I think, and the people who know the nubs, जिनको पल्स पता है, यदि वो लोग होंगे तब निश्चित रूप से ये विज़न पूरा होगा. वरना होगा ये कि हम लोग डिबेट करेंगे, अखबार में छाप देंगे और उसके बाद उसका असर 10 साल 20 साल बाद तक नहीं होता है. तो मुझे लगता है कि हमारी उम्मीद है कि जिस तरह का ऑप्टिमिस्टिक अप्रोच इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में है, कंट्री में है, सारी बुराई के बावजूद हमारी कंट्री ने पहले भी, इसलिए मैं तो कहूँगा ही कि गुजरात ने तरक्की की है, छत्तीसगढ़ ने की है, योगेंद्र प्रसाद जी की कोशिश से भी हुई हो, तो ऐसा नहीं कि हमने कुछ नहीं पाया है. इसलिए ये जो बीच में चला, सॉरी टू से, आम आदमी पार्टी टाइप कि भाई 60 साल में बर्बाद हो गया, या इवन बीजेपी या समाजवादी कोई कहता है, तरक्की तो हुई है, बट ये किया है कि यदि हम थोड़ी आंखें खुली रखें और थोड़ा स्पेस उनको दें जो करप्ट नहीं है. करप्ट वैसे देखिए, करप्ट हम लोग जो यहाँ बैठे हैं शायद हो सकता है वाइट कॉलर बहुत सारे लोग हो सकते हैं, लेकिन जो गांव में 90% है वो करप्ट नहीं है, वो रिजल्ट चाहता है. और इसी तरह से ब्यूरोक्रेसी में, टेक्नोक्रेट्स में ज़्यादा ईमानदारी से लोग रह रहे हैं. इसलिए उसको थोड़ा उम्मीद जगाएं सोसाइटी में कि नहीं, पावर सेक्टर में अच्छे काम करने वाले लोग हैं, वो करप्ट नहीं हैं. पॉलिटिक्स में भी अच्छे लोग हो सकते हैं जो करप्ट नहीं हैं. यदि वो मिल करके काम करेंगे तो देयर इज़ नो डाउट, बिकॉज करप्शन ऑल्सो इन चाइना. व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट चाइना, यू सी फ्रॉम प्रेसिडेंट of China, there are number of complaints about his family also. So don't compare with anybody, but there will be problem. From राम और कृष्ण के ज़माने में भी देवता के साथ साथ राक्षस भी होते थे, तो हमारे समय में भी होंगे. And but we should be optimistic, and I hope कि recommendation will be helpful for the country, and we will get major natural resources, energy resources, water resources, and certainly what Professor Iyer wants, and his vision is very good. I give compliment to him and thank you him for to invite me here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mehta Sahab. And Mehta Sahab has been a pioneer, because if you see the background, Mehta Sahab has not only been Padma Shri, he was also the president of the Editors Guild, former president of the Editors Guild of India. He was former editor of Navi Dunia and also Hindi Outlook and Hindustan. And he is right now editorial director of Talent Media Network. So we are very thankful that he took time. I met him at that 1Z business debate, and we instantly made friends, and he was so forthright enough, because I am a young person who's trying to come up, but we look up to people like him, to go forward, because the kind of impeccable journalism and the kind of, I would say, integrity that people like him have maintained is what is going to change the future journalism and the future work in the media in this country. So I hope that is the example that I would like to take, and he is an inspiration for us that he could spare time for us today. Thank you once again, sir. And we must give immediately a big hand. We are joined by our Joint Secretary Solar from the Ministry of Renewable Energy, Shri Arun Kapoor. Please give him a big hand. Especially because the way he has taken interest, we are seeing solar moving in this country. And I think solar will take a big leap forward, and I'm very, very confident that with him, the direction that he has given at Teminari, that has turned out to be the ministry that has functioned, and it has really operated, and we have results, in the country. So without wasting even a minute, I would like Bursa to throw light on what is the future for the solar, because we have talked hydro, we have talked everything, and this is the subject that I want to come up and see that what he has in his mind for solar for India.
Thank you. I'm sorry I was held up, so I came late, and I missed all the discussion on hydro, because hydro is my first subject. That's where I worked for maybe almost 10 years, and now I'm working in solar. So I'll just give a little update on what is happening as far as solar is concerned in the country. We've reached installed capacity of 2,700 megawatt now. We have to reach 10,000 megawatts by 2017. For the grid-connected solar, now we are planning, from Government of India side, we are planning one scheme of 1,500 megawatts with bundling with thermal power. This will be batch 2 of phase 2 of the National Solar Mission. Batch 1 of phase 2, 750 megawatts with BGF is currently going on. Those projects are being set up. So batch 2, 1500 megawatt will be implemented through NVVN. The tenders should come out in the next 2 to 3 months because we've got the go-ahead signal from Ministry of Power that they will be providing the power. Then we are working on another batch of 1000 megawatts with VGF, which will be the batch 3. And we are also working on two 1000 megawatts each projects for which we've got clearance from the National Clean Energy Fund. One will be on defense land, another will be with CPSUs. These are going to be 1000 megawatts each. So this is what is in the pipeline as far as Government of India is concerned. But then we expect quite a lot of action from the state government side. Though several states had come up with their own tenders and their own procurement plan, and in certain cases it got held up. Like Tamil Nadu had a tender of 1000 megawatts, Andhra had a tender of 1000 megawatts. They got held up due to certain reasons. But now I think these states are also reviving because now after bifurcation, what we are hearing is that both the states want to do more than 1000 megawatts each separately. From the state side, currently there are some states who have tendered out and their projects are under implementation. For example, Punjab has 200 megawatt under implementation. UP also has about, I think, 150 megawatt or so under implementation. So similarly, there are a few other states also who have some projects under implementation. So total around 3,500 megawatts is in the pipeline. As far as the future is concerned, what we feel is that now we've reached a stage where in most of the tenders, solar power is being the bids are coming at around 7 rupees per kilowatt hour, stable tariff for 25 years. And even if it stays at this level, if we don't see further reduction, even at this level, we should be able to achieve grid parity in the next maybe 2 to 3 years. If we compare with the current tenders for thermal projects, particularly those ones which have been held recently, where tariffs of around 5 rupees have been seen, and that too with the fuel pass through. So, and with accelerated depreciation, because the solar accelerated depreciation is allowed, so with AD, the tariffs being quoted are 6.5 rupees or even lower. So, and this I am talking without any government benefits. If we include the VGF and all which we are giving, then in any case we are aiming at tariffs of 5.5 rupees or lower. We are also planning some large projects. We are calling them ultra mega in solar. And we are defining any project single project more than 500 megawatts as ultra mega in solar, which is actually very big because world over so far one has not seen such large projects. The largest ones planned or under execution are just around 700 megawatt. So we are talking of much bigger than this. So far the largest in India is just 131 megawatts, but what we are planning is one very large one in 4,000 megawatts in Rajasthan and one 4,000 megawatt in Gujarat, then one 5,000 megawatts in Ladakh, then another one 2,500 in Kargil. And now recently we've got offers for two projects of around 1,000 megawatts each from MP and maybe one large one in Andhra. So therefore we have these plans in place for very large projects also in solar. They may take a little time to come up because just that planning part and getting that land and all through may take another 6-8 months, and after that then we should see the implementation start. So our aim of 20,000 megawatts by I think 2022, we should do much more than that. On grid connected rooftop, again I think we expect a lot of action. Today morning we had a meeting with in the forum of regulators, where we did discuss this because so far the biggest hindrance has been that we've not got the orders from the regulators, state regulators. Only 6 regulators have come up with orders where they are allowing connectivity with the grid for small distributed generation rooftop projects. So that is one area where we hope that there will be expansion automatically without any government intervention, because already there is a lot of interest, a lot of queries we are getting. So one should see a lot of growth. So So these I think are the growth areas. One more area which I can mention is pumping, solar-based water pumping. There again we should see a lot of growth, and this will also help the discoms, because if a lot of agricultural load shifts to solar, then that subsidized power which is going into agriculture sector, a lot of money would be saved which discoms are spending, or sometimes state government is promising to reimburse but it's not getting reimbursed. So there again one should see a lot of action. So I think this is just an update on what's happening. Thank you.
Wonderful, sir. We got an idea about how solar is moving. So one good statement from your side, which I think we have discussed, is we will far exceed the 20 gigawatt the way the interest from the states. And states have a key role, as you rightly said, other than the policy that the center is making. The states have a very major role in growth of the solar. And I think that is one of the very important areas. Even in such solar thermal, I think we have achieved some success. I'm not sure whether how much success is this, but still there are some good projects which have come up.
One 50 megawatt station,
Right.
another 100 megawatt will get station today or tomorrow.
Right. So, and I think the results are reasonably okay. I'm not saying very good, but for the beginning it's good results with these solar thermal projects as well, as I understand from my sources.
They are pretty expensive.
Yeah, but I think long run, if you see a very long-term path, solar thermal is also way out. You know, one of the things that I want to say, tell this forum is, it's not that this versus that. It is we need that basket, you know, which Yogindra Prasadji rightly said in the beginning, that people must think of the mix. People must think of the scientific mix that needs to come, and so everything will be needed by this country. We can't say this versus that. So it is about what that mix is all about. So the discussion is about that direction of the mix and not one against the other. And that is the highlight of this. And I think